All right, Ben Rutjens, right? Did I get it?
Yes, that's correct.
Nice. Sorry, my Dutch isn't
Get it right.
my Dutch isn't what it used to be. How's things? How are you?
Things are good, actually. Yeah, I've got my life together, as it seems. I passed at 30 years old, so was about time.
You made it. Congratulations. And where are you now? Where are you based?
I am based in my hometown, so it's Den Bosch. It's a city in the Netherlands. It's close to Eindhoven. Most people know Eindhoven, but not Den Bosch. So I always say it's close to there. I was born in the city, not raised, but lucky to be living here right now. Yeah.
What are you doing there? What's taking you there? Is that your hometown? Did you say where you've grown up?
Yeah, it's the place where I was born. My dad is from this town as well. When I was a child, I always went to visit Den Bosch, so it feels like home. And yeah, when you get back from abroad, it always feels like a warm bath.
A warm bath. Oh wow! I'll have to write that down. I've never likened my hometown to a warm bath, but I understand the sentiment. It's comfort, right?
Yeah, it's comfort.
Excellent.
Exactly.
And what about routine? Obviously, you and I met. We'll go into that later, but we met when we had totally different routine. What's life like now in Den Bosch for routine wise? How do you find yourself spending your time?
Routine wise, I think it's like a lot of people on this planet do. Working, I work a 9 to 5. I have an office job, so I work 5 days in the week. At the moment, I don't have any responsibilities like kids or whatever. So now it's just the time to make bank, as they say. Yeah, we're saving up for a house, and yeah. During the weekdays, I like to go to the gym, and in the weekends we just keep on planning. It's one weekend we do with friends, the other weekends with family. Every day is planned. No, yeah.
And before we started recording, you complained about your throat. What took you to that place now? How did that come about?
I met up with the boys last night, so we went down to the pub and down a few pints more than I should have.
Oh, because you're deeply entrenched in the routine. Then you're living
entrenched in the routine. Yeah, they opened up a new Irish pub in this place, so of course we had to check it out.
Be rude not to.
And they have Magnus on the tap. They have Guinness on the tap. So all the good stuff.
Nice. You fall into the good and bad habits then.
Yeah, you can say that.
All right. So before we get into the real meat and potatoes, at this point, I like to ask my guests for a kind of a highlight reel of their life, maybe just the top moments. For anybody who, we call it like a too long didn't listen, a TLDR kind of thing. So anybody who wants to know the highlights about you, if you can try and break down your journey.
But then you mean the highlights from adult life or?
Yeah.
Or the last 5 years?
Maybe, yeah, since you were 18. 16, 18, something like that. So just like a little summary of your life, where it's taken you, what you've been doing, and we'll get back into the minutiae later on.
All right. Yeah, highlights of the life. Since a kid, I've been traveling lots and lots of places. When I was 5, I went to Sri Lanka, and that just each year a new country. Which summoned my interest in foreign countries, new cultures, that kind of stuff. So that's why I started the studies of international business and languages. Found out I had a knack for Spanish. So that got me into a study abroad in Mexico, which was still one of the best times of my life. After Mexico, I went to Spain to do an internship. And after Spain, I was thinking, am I going to start a career, or do I want one adventure in another country? And I chose for the second one. So that got me to Colombia to do some traveling, a language course, and for example, the highlights. Then I met you. Yeah. And afterwards, I like Colombia that much that I started looking for a job there. I got a job at a Dutch company. Not to get into any details, but it didn't work out. So after Colombia, I went back home, and now I'm in Den Bosch. So that's in a very fast-paced highlight of Ben's life.
Wow, that was excellent. Thanks a lot. So on that, is there any interesting facts or anything about yourself that people might not know that you'd like to share? Did you do magic tricks or anything?
Cool. I can do a lot of magic
Oh,
tricks.
there we
I
go.
can do. Not gonna show them in this episode, maybe. No, I've been dealing with not dealing with, but keeping up with my Spanish. So the job that I'm working now requires a lot of Spanish words as well, Spanish talking. Got a lot of trips planned for this year. Gonna go to Dublin next weekend. Japan in the autumn. In the summer, I'm gonna go to Portugal. So that's and facts about me. Yeah, I don't know what to say actually.
That's enough.
Interesting facts. Yeah, I speak Spanish very well. Speak English. Do a bit of German.
So you're a polyglot, you could say.
Yeah.
There you go. You could just say that. I'm a polyglot.
Yeah, polyglots. Yeah,
Like,
polyglots.
come on, man. You've got to push this. You got to blow your own trumpet. You're Dutch. You're supposed to be arrogant, right? That's what they say. Not my words.
Well, I'm not like most Dutch, so that's maybe an interesting. Fact.
Okay. You're not.
I don't have blonde hair. I do have gray hair. So yeah, not like the most Dutch.
Okay, so you're Dutch, but not so Dutch. Yeah, nice. As you alluded to do,
Dutch with an international
edge, flavor,
edge.
Nice.
Yeah.
If it ain't Dutch, it ain't much. That's what one of my friends used to say.
I hear that a lot. Yeah.
Is that what your tattoo says also?
Yeah, it's the tattoo on my back.
So yeah, as you alluded to do before, we met in Medellín, Colombia, about 4 years ago. That's very scary because it seems like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was in 2022.
2022, yeah. That's so right. It was pretty much exactly 4 years ago. So we lived there. We lived together for about a month or so. I think it was around a month. We were in that.
Yeah, I think
that
it was
apartment.
a little bit more because an apartment in Poblado, yeah, next to the hostel.
Mm.
But I think it was more than a month. I think it was 3-4 months maybe.
Well, I was there I was in Medellin for 3 months or something, but I lived in a couple of places. So you must have been in that place for a while. But yeah, so what was your memory of that period anyway? Obviously, I came when you had already been there, and then I left and you stayed. So what was your memory of not just with me, the whole time?
So the whole time, I like to split it into two parts because the first time I went to Colombia was for the language course. I stayed at a school, did a lot of traveling at that time as well. And then in between, I got back to Holland, started looking for a job, went to Colombia again. So the first part of Colombia was excellent, was amazing. Got to know a lot of people, nice people, but stayed a little bit in that bubble of exchange people, foreign people. But afterwards, when I got back to Colombia for a second time, I really started getting into local life. So I joined a sports club, an American football team. I got, of course, Colombian colleagues. I got into a relationship with a Colombian girl. So that's so the second part was more getting to know Colombia as a local person. But like I mentioned in the introduction, is that when the job didn't work out, it was just trying to find your place, if you can say it like that. Because at some point when the job didn't work out, it was kind of like a limbo land. Like, what am I going to do? Should I stay or should I move back to the Netherlands and take the loss?
And which of those two, you split it into two, which of those experiences did you find more fulfilling, or what did you get most out of, do you feel?
In a sense, I got a lot out of both experiences, because in the second experience was really a mirror to myself, and also maybe if I can give tips for people who are going to live abroad, is that it's okay to find your way. But for example, in the first part, I just had a lot of fun. See the country itself, do things you wouldn't normally do on a vacation when you have 2-3 weeks to experience a country. But now if you have a couple of months of time, I was there for 5 months, I believe. So yeah, that's where you get to do a lot of things that you normally wouldn't do and take that trip, take that day-long hike, take that weekend-long trip. Yeah. So both experiences got a lot for me, both negative as positive.
Yeah. So you were talking about going traveling. Where else did you go on that trip in the 5 months?
Well, I saw about the entirety of Colombia, so I didn't leave Colombia for a lot of time. Just when I went to Mexico for a couple of days to visit a friend. But next to that, I just went to Colombia. So I went to the places everybody goes to Salento, to Medellín, to Bogota, but also to Leticia. I did the 3-day
On the
tour
Amazon.
to yeah, in the Amazon, yeah. But also the tour to the northwest of the country, above Panama even. La Guajira, that's what it's called. And I think most people don't
Is that
do that
is
tour.
that like the sand dunes? No,
The
the
desert.
desert. Yeah,
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 the desert. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, which was amazing, by the way. If you have the time, you really need to do that.
Yeah, I never made it there, but yeah, I'd seen a lot of people went. It was a lot of the big part was a lot of the poverty that was there. I think they were
Yeah.
trying to stimulate tourism to try and obviously assist with that area and
Yeah.
try and regenerate some kind of or stimulate the economy.
Yeah, some cash flow, but indeed, what you say, the poverty there is it's sad to see. But I hope they, with the increasing tourism, they can build it up.
And what was your favorite area on your travels?
Ooh, I like very much going to Salento, just because of the calmness of the village itself and being in the nature.
The big trees,
The big trees, they soothed me in some way.
like the warm bath.
Build like a warm bath. Yeah, exactly. But of course, Medellin still has a special place in my heart. Yeah.
And what was it about
Whenever
Medellin?
I think back,
What was it about Medellin that you loved?
it's the vibe. I've been to various cities in Colombia then, but the 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 busyness, the vibe, the people itself of Medellin, it's just very lively. And like I said in the introduction, is that in Holland, but also in other Western countries, we plan a lot. We plan the weekends, we plan the evenings, but there is always spontaneous
And spontaneity, yeah.
spontaneity.
Yeah. So other than obviously anybody going to Medellin will know Poblado. It's where all the expats go. It is great, but you know that
It is great.
the prices sort of match the popularity, which is par for the
Yeah,
course.
then the gentrification
Yeah.
of Poblado is it's gotten a little bit out of hand. When I was there for my last period, you could already see that the pricing was insane.
Yeah,
Like for a small room, you would you would almost pay $1,000
wow.
for a room.
Well, I remember vividly messaging you in your second time there, catching up, and you complained that that was a huge difference. I think, was it the next year you went or the year after?
It was the same year, but at the end, so it was
Right.
end of
So it was
2022.
pretty soon because the
But
prices,
I was there until
yeah, the prices were
I-
starting to go up. I could see that happening, but it seems obviously within a year that it shot up exponentially, right?
yeah, and the biggest thing that you could see was, for example, Menu del Dia, the daily menu, where it normally would cost about let's say euros in this case. At the time that I left, it would already be up to 8, 9. Yeah. And so for local people it's sad to see that local people couldn't afford being in their
They
own
get
city.
priced out. Yeah, it's happening a lot. That's classic gentrification, though, right? It's the way it goes. So with that in mind, where else, as you said, you did kind of assimilate quite well the second time, especially. Where would you find yourself venturing out to? Is there any places you would maybe recommend others to go that they might not know
I
of? Little
think a
hidden
lot of
gems.
expats already are. Yeah, I think a lot of expats already are looking into new places to live because the Poblado area is so expensive. So most people go to La Reles, a very nice neighborhood, but also getting a little bit gentrified, if you will. I personally lived in Estadio, the neighborhood Estadio. Yeah, it's if you are in Medellín, I would say that those two areas are getting nicer and nicer. Um, yeah, it's been such a long time ago, so I don't know which neighborhoods are already also getting up in the lift, like as a place to live. For example, Centro. I don't know if I would recommend it, but I also don't know how it is at this moment.
Is that the place with all the museums and stuff? Because it
That's
was
the place
kind
with all the
of
museums.
sketchy the last time I went there.
Yeah,
See, that was kind of
it was sketchy.
a deterrent, if you like, to spend more time. You know, you didn't want to be. I didn't want to watch my back every 2 seconds. It got a bit annoying.
Yeah, so that was the gist of Centro, but at the end of my time in Colombia, I already knew lots of people who were searching in that area for a place to live. So yeah, it's hard to say if that area is now less sketchy than it was.
Yeah, 3 years is it's a lifetime
Yeah.
in terms of these gentrified moments that we're going through right now. All right, cool. So take me back to before Colombia. What were you doing there that made you kind of pushed you to go there? Was it a job you were doing, or was it a lifestyle? What were you doing, and what made you made that move?
You mean when I was in Holland?
Yeah, just wherever you were
Yeah,
before
yeah, yeah.
2022, I guess.
So I mentioned that I went to a study abroad and an internship in different countries, and I had such a great time that I was still looking for that, yeah, that feeling, that high. Um, that I decided to go to Colombia. So before that, I was in Nijmegen, which is another city in the Netherlands in the east. Just wrapping up my studies, doing my thesis. But I was living in a student dorm. So I had 20 square meters. Um, yeah, so I wrapped up my studies, and then I had the choice: am I going to go look for a job, start my career, or am I going to take advantage of the still being young and not having any how do you say it,
Ties? Yeah,
responsibilities,
yeah.
ties. So yeah, I had to do it. If I wouldn't do it, I think I would have regretted it my entire life. So that was a key factor for me to do it. I'd rather have regretted that I did it than regret that I didn't do it.
Yeah, the phrase in English, you probably know it, is regret the things you do, not the things you don't do.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
obviously it's far reaching, that one. Nice. So you're glad you did it then. Did you have any regrets at all?
I have some regrets about the way that I did it, but I have no regrets that I did do it.
What was the way you did it? What do you mean by that? If you can elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, surely. I was in such a not rush, but I really wanted to go back. And each month that passed that I wasn't there, I was in between like, what am I gonna do? Um, so when I found this job at this company, they would arrange my visa. And for the time being that they would arrange it, I could be on a sort of expat contract with them. So I went to Colombia without actually having my visa approved, and it took them nearly 6 months to get it approved, which in the end it did not. So I went to if I would do it again, I would of course wait until the visa was already um, accepted.
Yeah, instead of jumping ahead. But
Instead of jumping ahead, I just went in feet first.
balls to the wall, you have to do that sometimes. But yeah.
Yeah, I took the risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no risk, no reward. I'm getting all of them out today. Right, so going back,
You're on fire.
thanks. Going back to that, are there any skills from your old life before you left to Colombia that have helped you going forward in your
I think
current position?
the skill that I have is the adaptability to get into new situations and just get used to it instead of panicking. I rarely panic or get stressed out. So if you do, don't go to a country without a visa. But I think that's the main skill that that helped me get through it. Yeah.
And has any of that helped you in your current position that you're doing now? You did talk about your new job requiring high proficiency of Spanish. Has that helped you?
Yeah.
Obviously, the Mexico and Colombia experience.
Yeah, it helped me a great lot because I do speak Spanish still fluently. That's the thing you said, blowing my own
Yeah.
trumpet, is that I always get compliments on my Spanish by Spanish speakers, like the accent that I have or the fluency that I have in speaking it. So yeah, being in their country and conversing with the locals did help me a lot, and especially in my current job. And I don't see any reason to not take it with my next job as well.
Excellent. So you're all in on the Spanish side too.
Yeah, I think it's quite a skill to have because it's still one of the most important languages there is in the world, next to maybe English and Chinese. But Spanish is such a great skill to have, and yeah, if you have the time, if you have the means, I would suggest anyone to just pick it up because in some way it's actually very easy.
Yeah. Spoken like a true Dutchman who already speaks 2 languages from birth. Very nice. And how would you say your proficiency is compared to your English?
I think my English is still better because of the daily life. Like you watch series, you play games. Me and you are having a chat right now, so English has always been the better language that I have than Spanish. But my Spanish proficiency would be at if you could put a level on it, it would be C1.
Excellent. So with it helping your job now, what is that? Can you talk more about what you do?
So yeah, I do sales. So I work at a Taiwanese company. It's called Acer, but maybe you've heard of
Yeah,
it.
the computer company, yeah. Software, hardware.
The computer company. I do sales in the EMEA region. We do digital signage, so we produce narrowcasting devices. I'm not sure if I can go into very much details in which clients we have, but for example, customer of ours are football stadiums, museums, airports, supermarkets, and everything that has to do with digital advertising. Like you see a screen, it has content, and the content needs to be played. To have it played, it needs a player, and the players, that's the thing we provide.
And you said you deal with which region? EMIS?
EMEA
EMEA,
region.
sorry.
So EMEA is
What's that
short
acronym?
for Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
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 I'm not in sales. I didn't know. Thanks for enlightening me.
No, for me, it's of course very.
Second nature.
Yeah, we say that my English is very good, but now I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. For me, it's very easy, second nature, like you said, that EMEA stands for something, and I know what it is. But I can, of course, imagine that some people
Scratching our head a bit. Well, thank you very much. We've learned something else from you today. All right, so that's your job now. Does any other jobs you've done in the past? Tell me about the best or the worst ones that have got you to where you are now. I think it's all about experience. That's the thing I try and push. That people getting to a job now. When you set off, when you're younger, there's no way you knew you were going to do that. So all these little skills that you've accrued over the years have probably helped you in some little way, right? So just, if you can throw out some of the jobs you've done in the past, please.
So the job that I had in Colombia was with a software party, and they did software for gyms and like personal trainers, that kind of stuff. What I did was it's close to customer service. When I got back from Colombia, I went searching for a new job, of course, and I ended up at a company which was a wholesaler for solar panels and all the paraphernalia with it. Where I firstly signed up for another job, I was moved to getting involved in the customer portal that they have and the digital journey. So digitizing the processes. I never had any experience in that, but I learned very much from it because you get to see behind the screens or behind the scenes, like how does it work? How does a customer portal work? How do you program it? How do you test it? How do you get the bugs out? Um, so I am grateful that I did that job, um, but it wasn't for me.
That was the one in Colombia, right?
No, that was the one I did after Colombia.
Oh, okay. And what about in Colombia and prior to Colombia?
Prior to Colombia, yeah. So prior to Colombia, I did a lot of jobs when I was a student. So I worked in a clothing store, which still was one of my favorite jobs that I
Clothes?
clothing.
Okay.
So fashion
Yeah.
fashion store. Still one of my favorite jobs. Mostly because I like fashion. I like to work with clothing. I like to advise people on what to wear, what to combine it with, how to style. And I like it to do it myself as well. So yeah, that was still one of my favorite jobs that I had. And before that, I did a lot of bar work, so bartending. Um, yeah, also a great skill to have if you work in a restaurant or a bar. It's the constant moving, never stopping, always looking for something to do.
A time to lean,
That
time to
was a lot of
clean,
fun.
as they say.
Yeah, time to lean is time to clean. But it helps you to get a work ethic.
Mm.
So yeah, it's always looking for something to do. Um, no, never standing still. I like to be busy at all times,
Yeah, I worked on
or it gets boring.
like
Yeah.
oil and gas. We did stuff oil and gas. We built platforms to go offshore. And some guy said, if you're going to walk, make sure it looks like you have purpose and have a piece of paper in your hand. Even if you're not busy, just look busy. So everybody here, 90% of the people just looking busy. Just don't stand there. So yeah, that's tip to anybody. Look busy. Try and be busy, but if
No,
you
no.
can't, just look
Try
busy.
and be busy. Yeah.
Yeah, show your worth. Excellent. So what was your process following school then? Obviously, you did talk a little bit about university. Did you, what did you say you did? Was it business economics or something?
Yeah. So I studied international
International
business and
business.
languages.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah, and the languages part was obviously the trigger for me to look into the studies if I would like it, and yeah, I did. So at those studies, we were obliged to take courses in two different languages. So we had, of course, Dutch and English classes, and I chose German and Spanish to do next to it. Whereas I did pass and finish all my exams and assignments for German. Can't say that I really speak German fluently. But like I mentioned, when I started those Spanish classes, I just found it easier than others. Which then I found out that I had a knack for it. Then I fully focused on doing internships and study abroad in a native Spanish country.
cool. How, on a tangent, how similar is Dutch to Deutsch? Are they, is it Germanic, the same as English and German, or is it more similar?
It's from the same group of
Mm,
languages, like the Germanic languages, like you said, English, Dutch, German, Danish, that kind of
yeah.
stuff. I can understand German speakers, even if I don't know what they are talking about. There are similar words, like yeah, I can go into details, but if you are Dutch, I think it's easier to learn German than any other country.
Cool. So yeah, just going back a little bit. Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, going back a little bit. What you did study it seemed to tie in with what you've done. Did you know what you wanted to do when you were studying that, or prior to, when you were 16, 17, 18, before you went to university? Or was it just, do you think you've done these things because you studied that? What do you think came first, your desire or your realization that this works for you?
I think because when I was a kid, my parents took me all over the world. I think there the interest of being abroad and dealing with other cultures really started to get going. So that's what made me decide to pursue these studies, like international business and being involved in companies overseas.
That
Yeah,
kind of fueled it anyway. Your lifestyle is
yeah,
from a young
absolutely.
age. Nice. It was, yeah, the desire to go. Excellent. So are there any hobbies or activities that you do that helped you, like increase your social skills or help you network with people?
Ooh,
You talked about American
can
football
you
before.
elaborate a
Well,
little
you
bit
talked
more?
about playing American football when you were in
Yeah,
Colombia. Obviously, what did that give you? That kind of thing. You said that helped you assimilate doing more local things, or I don't know if American
yeah,
football is a local thing, but an activity with locals. Did that really help you to develop relationships or network?
absolutely. And still getting back to the speaking Spanish part, um, if you speak even a little bit of the language, it's so much easier to connect with the locals. And if you can connect with locals, it gives you such a different experience of a country. Um, Last November, I went to Guatemala. So I just started talking with people, and you can see in their eyes when you talk Spanish to them, even though you're foreign, it just brings out something like an appreciation, and you get very different conversations than you would have in English. So like they would talk more about their personal life. They would talk about their struggles. They would talk about how lovely their country is. So yeah, it does give you a lot of positivity and yeah, a different experience when you go to a country.
All right. So, as a pretty nomadic person, you're always on the move, it seems, your whole life. Can you give me 5 items that you couldn't go without, or you'd say were essential to doing what you do?
Phew, that's a good question.
So I like the big questions, yeah.
So for travels or really to stay abroad?
Maybe do one of each, you could say,
Maybe one of
to
each.
give you some leeway.
Um, 5 items. Yeah, I could of course say the most obvious ones like a power bank and your cash and your phone, but I'm trying to
Maybe discount the
think that
ones that
yeah,
everybody doesn't have, yeah.
yeah.
Power bank, though, that's
Um,
quite a smart one, especially nowadays. I think
Power
a
bank
good power.
always it's a good thing to have. Always take a small backpack for day trips. So like a 10-liter backpack. That's always good to have. Um, a hat. So when I went abroad, I took my Xbox with me because it's a smaller one, the easy on the go one. I think it's nice to have to stay in touch with your friends back home because we always used to game online, and that really helped me to stay in touch with them. Instead of calling once in a while, I would just hop on the game and talk to the boys again. So that was a big plus for me. That was one of the essential things that I had. Um, Anything else? S- Colombia specific, not really, but basically in any country that is a bit poor. So maybe something like a pouch, like a belly pouch, or
Hmm. A fanny pack or bum bag or whatever you call
a
them.
fanny pack.
Yeah,
Fanny pack.
yeah.
It may seem like you're a bit of a dork with a fanny pack, but it's
You're a
it's
dork with all your money.
it's perfect. Yeah, it's you really need to have a fanny pack that keeps things in your pockets
Yeah.
because they are fast. I got pickpocketed once in Colombia, but they do it so fast.
Hmm.
You don't know what's going on. Yeah,
Yeah, I got done on the Mexico City subway. Ah, that was
yeah.
horrible. Yeah, but it was non-invasive. It was non-violent. So,
No,
a lot of
it's
people
not
aren't so
violent, but
lucky.
it's
Piss you
still
off.
it's still unlucky and it still pisses you off if you find
Yeah.
out your phone's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, actually I've been pickpocketed loads. I'll make it sound like I didn't. I went Chile. It's all South America. Sorry, South Americans, but it's a dangerous place. Yeah, all right. So you got them. What about staying longer term? You did talk about the Xbox as being like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
good way for you to retain your kind of your friend group or
Yeah,
your
the group of
relationships.
friends,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Try to write as well, like
Hmm.
good things, um, local spots that you've been brought to by a local person. For example, spots that are not on tourist guides or that kind of stuff. TripAdvisor.
Like a journal kind of thing, or just a note.
Just a notebook. Just a
Yep.
notebook to write in, I've been there, and how to get there, because sometimes somebody takes you to a spot that's local and not anybody knows about it, but you forget where it is and how to get there. Yeah.
Moving on. So, as a Dutchman, from a country that's synonymous with like being quite laid back and indulging in herbal medicinal products, what do you like to do to cut back and relax, cut loose, even?
um, yeah, like I said before, playing games. That's
And video
relaxing
games.
always. Video games. Um, some people say it's a waste of time, but I don't see it that way. You can either watch a series on Netflix or live your own story on the Xbox. I don't see the difference. Um, yeah, it sounds a bit
And it's
corny, but
and it's active. I'd give that argument. I'm not a gamer, but as I've gotten older, I've seen the other perspective of that. If you're engaging in something, obviously some people take the limit and they're on there for 10 hours. But as you said, if you're watching a movie for an hour and a half on Netflix or playing a video game, I think that's going to do you more good playing the video game. More critical.
it,
I don't know about critical thinking, but you're having to use your brain to engage, right?
yeah, but it also pushes you a bit to think for yourself. Like in the game, if you're on a like a mission, how they call it in the video games, it makes you think, what am I going to do next? What's the best way to approach it? Lots of games have puzzles as well. So it does make your brain active instead of watching and binging a series on Netflix where the story is already played out for you. Doesn't mean that I don't like watching films and series. But yeah, I think gaming is a very positive way for me to relax, and also, like, it sounds a bit corny, but traveling as well.
Yeah.
Seeing new places, that's what I want to do.
So that helps you relax a bit.
Yeah.
Excellent. Talking about family, I remember when we were in Medellin, you were planning a trip with your parents. Did they come to see you, or did you meet them somewhere?
No, they came to see me. They came to Colombia. They came to Medellin, so they saw where I lived. They saw my place where I stayed. I introduced them to some people, and the three of us went to Salento, for example. We went to the Rosario Islands. Um, they went on to No, we also went to Cartagena. Yeah, it's they've always visited me whenever I was abroad. So also in Mexico and also in Spain. So that's a big appreciation that they take the time and the energy to see me.
So
At
how
least.
great? How has that dynamic changed as you've gotten older? Obviously, a lot of people that you did talk earlier, I don't know if that was off camera before, about people going with their parents when they're younger, and then as soon as they finish their teens, that's it. They never vacation with their parents again. How has that been from the younger you to traveling with him as an adult? Do you see yourselves as more friends now than that dynamic you'd have when you were younger, or
Hmm.
how has it helped your relationship? Is basically what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, if I wanted to get into that, because my parents will always be my parents, and that's how I will see them for the rest of my life. But it also evolved a bit into friendship as well. Like me and my parents, we can just talk about anything. We can laugh. We can have serious conversations, and it's really nice to have someone or someone's to fall back on. To always have a stable side that you can relate to. And of course, you look like your parents, but you're also unlike your parents in your ways. So yeah, it being an adult, it also evolved into yeah, friendship even.
Hmm. You say that with such love.
Yeah, but I love my parents.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm joking.
Yeah.
And what other trips have you been on with them? If you can think of a few as an adult.
I can think of as an adult. We've been to the United States for more than once. So we've been to the East Side, New York, and that kind of stuff. But also to Florida and the West Side, Los Angeles, California. I've been to South Africa with them. We've been to Indonesia. We've been to Oh, also Texas in the United States. Yeah, and weekend trips to Germany, Spain, France. Yeah, there's loads. I can name almost any country, and then I've been there with my parents.
Awesome. And with that relationship as it is, did they ever push you when you were younger or advise you to a certain path, or how was that kind of dynamic?
What do you mean pushing it in a
Towards
direction?
a maybe a career or a
Oh yeah,
vocation?
never push me. They always stimulated that I find my own path. They also did that with my brother, and yeah, it also makes you the person who you want to be. I've seen people who were pushed by their parents to a certain vocation and they just hate it. And then at some point when they're between 25 and 35, they realize that this is not the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life, but they've done a study for a specific vocation. So they have to start all over again. So yeah, I am grateful that I was able to pick my own path.
Excellent. And what about going back to traveling in general? Is there a trip that's changed your perception of your life in particular? Is any that have stood out as being like the pinnacle of your, um, not reflection, but yeah, I guess kind of the way that it's formed you, if you like.
Um, well, then I can also come back to the second part of Colombia, which formed me because that's also one of the time periods when I realized that having close friends and family nearby is yeah, so important and can have such great value. Um, because at some point when you go move abroad to a different country, there are also nights that you can be lonely. Um, but having your friends close by is not sure to
Invaluable.
describe it. Invaluable, maybe.
Yeah, I totally agree. As much as I love traveling, there are times that I just want that warm bath, if you like.
Yeah,
And right now, I've been home for a couple of months away from Asia, or wherever else I've lived. And it's even just doing the menial routine things, knowing that my family or friends are still there. That's it. Yesterday, I went to the football game. It wasn't a good game, but I was in my city, and it was effortless. There was
yeah,
you can draw on these experiences. You've known these guys since you were 7, 8, 10 years old. It was just lovely. It was effortless, and it felt so comfortable, and you just feel
yeah.
so surrounded by love. Even if it's not active and they're not telling you they love you, it's that feeling. You've got this
It's
unspoken kind of bond, right?
it's the unspoken bond. That's exactly perfectly put. The unspoken bond of maybe an unbreakable bond, but knowing that you're surrounded by the ones you love
Mm,
and the ones that love you.
yeah. So it's always a nice feeling. Funniest or most memorable thing or event that's happened while traveling?
I've had so many memorable things while traveling. So I also scuba dive. Um, One of the things that I experienced in Bali, Indonesia, we went on the Nusa Penida dive, where there's guaranteed manta rays. Um, at some point, I was next to my dad, and we in the deep blue, we saw like a shadow getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it turned into a manta ray. But then there was another one, and another one, and another one, and at some point, I just lost count. There were 30 manta rays around it. So of course, that's one of the most memorable things I've seen. But if I go back into travels, it's too much to point out. There's so many things I've done. I've been on a rodeo in the United States, for example. I sat on a live bull. That was terrifying, but a lot of adrenaline as well. I was 14 years old, so I'm not sure why my parents allowed me to do this. But I think it's just me and my brother, two teenage boys, raging hormones, uh,
Immortal.
immortal, but also
They feel immortal anyway.
like brothers between each other. like, oh, we can do this. We should do this. Yeah, yeah. You're not a coward, or you're not. No, I'm not.
Egging each other on. That's one phrase we might say.
That's a phrase. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. If I go into detail, then there's so much bungee
Too
jumping in
much.
South Africa, loads of things.
Excellent. So, in a broader sense, what influence has travel had on your decisions over the years?
Um,
With that in mind,
so
when you're making decisions about a job or any big decision that's coming up, what would
no,
travel have on that?
I love the place that I'm now. I love that I'm still that I'm in my hometown. But I feel like the world is such a big place, and you can never stop exploring. I just want to see the entirety of the world when
Oh, so the fire still
my
burns.
lifetime.
The fire still burns in you then.
Yeah, for example, in October we're gonna go to Japan. That's a culture I've never experienced before, and I can only be excited about it. There's people who go to the same place and same town each year, or they go to Spain or they go to France because they like it. I just want to see every country that there is. Favorite period of my life, yeah, maybe. I've mentioned before at the start that my days in Mexico was amazing. That was one of the best times that I ever had. Um, yeah, the student time, when you're a student, when you're beginning 20s, when everything seems possible, when you can go out for 3 nights a week. Right. Yeah, but still, now I'm entering such a phase that like you're getting into your career. You know what you want. You're starting to get a bit more money. You not have the student money anymore. So you can go on to bigger travels, bigger um, uh, things that you want to do that you've always wanted to do. So I think there's still a time coming ahead that's going to be one of my favorites. So yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of another saying that we have. It's similar, I guess, to say youth is wasted on the young. Like when you're young, you don't, and not everybody, but a lot of people, they don't take full advantage. It's only when you get older you think, ah, shit, I should have done this or I should have done that. So,
yeah.
and now when you're older, you can't because you're physically incapable or not as capable as before. That's life. All right. If you could do it all again the way you did, would you? Or is there anything you would change?
Like mentioned, I went to Colombia without a visa, so that's definitely the first thing I would change. Would I do anything else differently? Sure. But not in such a way that I regret things. Some things you hold on to longer to than needed, if that makes sense. For example, when I left Colombia, I still had a relationship. You know that long distance eventually only works for a small percentage of people, but you try it anyway because you are in a relationship with someone. Yeah, and other things, maybe, for example, my studies. I took a little bit too much advantage of being young and having the time and going to the pubs. So one thing I would do is more my best on the studies that I did. So usually it takes 4 years, but I did 6. So that's one thing I would change.
Van Wilder.
Van
Or
Wilder, yeah, maybe.
Von Wilder. I don't know. What's the Dutch name? Van Ev. He sounds like a Dutch name, right?
Van Wilder is, I think it's Dutch, yeah. But if it's Von, V-O-N, then it's German.
Yeah, I thought that, yeah. Very good. Before I forget, the summary we did before, could you do that in Spanish for our Spanish listeners? We have so many.
Like my introduction, or
Yeah, add
which
to the flavor.
what do you mean?
The kind of summary of what you've been up to. I asked you and you said in English. Could you do it in Spanish for our Spanish listeners?
Yeah, sure. I'll direct myself to the Spanish
Vámonos.
listeners. Vámonos. Hola y
Por
buenas
favor.
tardes, soy Benjamín, soy de Países Bajos y aprendí el lenguaje de español cuando estuve en México. Ahí hice mi intercambio y después con mis estudios debí hacer una práctica y para esa práctica fui a España. Y pues después pensé, ¿qué voy a hacer? Estuve en Holanda pensando que tengo dos opciones. Uno fue, puedo empezar con una carrera y buscar un trabajo. Y el otro fue, voy a hacer una vez más un viaje, ¿cómo se dice? Aventura. Y bueno, elegí la opción 2, perdón, y fui a Colombia. Ahí tuve un trabajo con una empresa holandés y lamentablemente después unos 3 meses, em, tuve que regresar a Países Bajos. Bueno, puedo hablar sobre toda mi vida, em, pero siento que tengo que cortarlo porque veo que Guy está ahí veando y no sé nada, no sabe nada, entonces vamos a regresar a inglés. That was pretty much about it.
Muy bien, muchas gracias, Benjamín.
Un gusto.
Ah.
Sí,
Se acabó. Ahora,
se acabó.
Ben, that's us done, my friend. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate that. If
No
there's anything
worries.
you'd like to plug, any accounts that you have, any businesses, please feel free to do so now.
You mean
Or
like
don't.
tips or what do you?
No, for you. For you, if you had any account, a lot of people have businesses or accounts that they like to promote. People can follow you, anything like that. If you don't, that's totally fine. A lot of people don't either.
I have an Instagram account. I only have 500 followers, but sure, you can follow me. I do post about my travels. It's just at Ben Rutjens. It's just my name, but it's all fine. I don't have anything to promote. I'm just living my life. I like where I am right now. So yeah.
Well, that was one more
Thanks.
question. One question I always ask people at the end, the final one. Would you consider yourself happy? You've kind of answered that.
At this moment, I absolutely do. Yeah.
And what defines happiness to you?
I've got a stable home situation. So I've got a very lovely girlfriend who I see spending more time with. I have so many new adventures coming up. It's like I'm going to Japan, I'm going to Azores, Dublin next weekend. So consider myself very lucky and happy that I'm able to do those things. And also within the job that I do is, I've had jobs where I wasn't happy, but the job that I am now, I am. So yeah, if you count those the three pinnacles of daily life, stable relationship, always fun things to do, and a stable job, I think I'm very lucky and happy at the moment.
So money, options, and hope. They're that other trifecta then maybe.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Excellent. Yeah, I really appreciate you taking your time to share everything. And hopefully we can catch up somewhere. Maybe Amsterdam. That seems like a kind of neutral venue.
If you are any day in Holland, then just surely hit me up because I will take the train and we'll do a pint in a pub somewhere.
Lovely. Well, there's an actual.
Or you can come down to the south and meet me in my hometown. Then I can show you around, of course.
Excellent. I've been to Utrecht once. That's as far south as I've been, I think. So
yeah, it's even farther south if you come to my hometown.
Well, I don't know. It sounds a little bit risky, the deep south. All right. Well, thanks again, mate. Cheers for your time. I'll see you around.
Thank you, and great catching up, man.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone or anyone for sticking around and listening all the way through. I really do appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to support the podcast is simply by following, subscribing and sharing it with anyone you think would get value from it. You can also find me on all of the usual socials, as well as those of today's guest, if they want you poking around in their business. I'll leave all the links in the show notes, so feel free to head there and take a closer look at my top tier content. If you'd like to support the podcast directly, you can do that through my Buy Me a Coffee link.
It genuinely helps me keep creating these incredible episodes and improve as we go along. And finally, if you're interested in working with me more directly, I also offer a travel consulting service, whether that's guidance, strategy, or help with selecting your pivot towards your new chapter. You can book a session through the link in the description. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you on the next one.